Welcome to Becoming Brokerage. I am Joe Ulam with Brown Harris Stevens. Thank you for joining us. This is the show about real estate professionals and their exciting, fascinating previous careers and how they've helped with their current careers as top brokers. And we'll be right back after this message.
From residential and commercial closings to litigation, Romer DeBoss is your full-service real estate law firm. We blend big firm knowledge with boutique-level attention, delivering outcomes that exceed every expectation. Contact us at romerdeboss.com.
I'm Brian Scott Cohen, one of the top loan originators in the country, and the #1 mortgage originator at Guaranteed Rate Infinity. Guaranteed Rate Infinity arguably has the most advanced tech in the industry. Our completely digital loan process makes it easy and efficient for homeowners, from a 15-minute pre-approval to the digital application and through closing. My team and I would love to help you get into the home of your dreams.
So I'm very excited about my guest today. Her name is Frances Katzen, who is the founder of the Katzen Team at Douglas Elliman and one of the top luxury brokers in the country. And she has closed more than $3.5 billion in sales and annually closes about $350 million every year. So she's in the top 10 nationwide at her company, and she does a lot of advising of developers and global investors. And what's exciting about Frances is not only her current career, but her former career as a ballerina with the American Ballet Theater. Yeah. Frances, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Joseph. It's nice to be here.
It's great to have you. I'm very interested in your career. I do a lot of research for this show to find the right guests, and so I look at hundreds of bios, and yours was one that jumped out right away. So
I'm very flattered and honored. Thank you for having me.
Well, we don't just bring people here to flatter them, because we do grill them a little bit too. So
oh boy,
hopefully you're prepared for that. So ballet, tell me a little bit about how you got started in that and what your journey was like as a ballerina.
Well, it certainly wasn't linear, that's for sure. I probably had one of the most unorthodox careers as a ballet dancer. I was born in Cape Town, South Africa. We migrated due to the apartheid to Sydney, Australia. My dad was a doctor, and I was just a really high-keyed kid. And so I just loved to move. It was like, just put her in something to move.
Yeah.
And I went into a really bad class for modern dance. It was so bad. She did her makeup the entire time. And then I went to a ballet class, and it seemed like to really slap my head up and get it going. And I think it started from there. I really, out of all the most difficult art forms, ballet has the most short-lived, most finite career of all. And of course, I picked it, right? So all you have to show for it is ugly feet and memories, you know. But no, I landed up auditioning for School of American Ballet while I was in Australia at 14, and I got in and I came. I came on my own. It was not for the meek. It was a really big transition, especially at that age. Couldn't quite understand why people ate bagels with no butter. You know, it was all a very different world. I was like, let's have a steak. Dancers don't eat meat. I'm like, really? So it was kind of that world. And then I became a professional at 16, and I got into the big leagues, which is ABT, which is really what I wanted. And I fractured my spine. Ooh. So they put me in a brace for 6 months. I came back from that, and then they basically said I was like a racehorse. They didn't perform. So I was benched, basically fired. And then I was invited to dance with Suzanne Farrell at the Kennedy Center as one of the soloists. And that led me to go on to do Miami City Ballet. And so when I say unorthodox, it was kind of like this, but actually it was the best thing that happened because I got let out of the gate. I felt that maybe the classical tradition was a bit too much. And anyway, I got into neoclassical, which is where I got to really thrive as this sort of creature, and I loved it. And then it ended with another injury.
Oh, no.
Foot injury in 2006, and that was it.
Well, no injuries today, okay?
No, just brain injury. No kidding. No.
So a couple of things jump out at me, and I'm always impressed when I go to see any sort of dance, but particularly ballet. And what I see is not only the art form and the tremendous talent that it takes to be a ballerina, but the work. And I watch every step, and it just constantly amazes me how much must go into the choreography and every little step being so specific.
Thank you for appreciating that. It is absolutely maniacal. You are constantly perfecting it. It is the most self-involved thing. You can't fake it. You either have the body or you don't. You either have the technique or you don't. You're out there. There's nowhere to go. You're in a leotard and a pair of shoes, and you hope to God you nail it. That's pretty much it.
I tried a ballet class once at New York Sports Club when they were putting together this new program, and I bombed. It's no surprise to anyone, but I did not pursue that career. But it really, can you talk a little bit about the amount of work it takes? Because I can imagine all day, all the rehearsals.
When I think about the tour schedule, we would get up. I mean, think about it. You get up, your first class is at 10 a.m. You dance for an hour and a half hard. You have 15-minute break, and then you start rehearsing. And you're running ballets, 30-minute ballets, full out with feeling and emotion. And then you do it again on the stage for a dress rehearsal, or you go straight into, you rehearse all day until probably 6. You have a bite to eat. You get ready for the makeup, hair, and then the curtain goes up at 8:05, technically. And so you are on, and then you have to be perfect. So you've got to get your mind, your body, and sometimes your body is rebelling a lot. So you have to really know how to control your anxiety, your tension, your fatigue. You have to know how to oxygenate your blood so that you don't cramp on stage. You hope to God someone catches you on the right cue. I mean, it's all about trust. It's a lot.
So
it's like 8 hours plus.
Wow. And the competition, we hear a lot about it, what it's like, and there are movies that show a little bit.
It's real.
And so when you're auditioning, is it just sort of a fight and people, like, what's the competition like? Are people friendly to one another, or is it really a dog-eat-dog situation?
That's a really good question. I think it really depends on how you look at it. Much like brokerage, I think it's how there's enough for everybody. Excuse me. I found I was very much in the blinders. I didn't want to look around because I didn't want to either hurt someone that I liked or upset someone that I liked or get intimidated. I just stayed in my lane. And it's the same idea. It's sort of like, be kind, be professional, but it can get nasty. Oh, yeah. I would see things, and it was really tough.
I'll bet, because I think at that age, it's as brokers, we've been around the block a little bit, but at that age when people are very young,
yeah, you
don't have the sense of, well, let me just do my thing and see where the chips fall.
Well, remember, you're dependent on one person's opinion of you, the director. They either love you or they don't. They either get what you're about or they don't. And you're sitting in the core waiting to be chosen. It's sort of this very infantile kind of existence. And I think when you get to a point where you actually have an opinion, you've done your time and you're a soloist doing principal roles, you're kind of done. Please, sir, may I have some more? You know, you kind of want to be let out of the gate and to really do what you do best. It's a very limited world, the vernacular of, am I good enough? And playing the dutiful thing. And it gets, you want to grow up.
Does it absorb you completely? Are you able to have a social life of any kind?
Yes and no. I mean, it's all limited, predicated on when it suits you and when it fits in. And the relationships you have with people are fluid, but they move because this one got injured or this one got fired or this one went to this company. So you never can hold on. And you're also competing. As much as you love each other, you want the role. So it's tough. It's a very lonely existence. You're in your head 24 hours a day. That's it.
I can remember when I was a kid, probably about 6, my parents took me to see the Nutcracker. And I was just so absorbed in it. The colors, the dancers, everything about it. It was just such a beautiful spectacle. And are you able to go to see ballet now and appreciate it?
So much. I'm like, all yours, guys. Glad I'm not having to deal with that pre-curtain. I remember the stress and the nerves to go out and do Swan Lake or Divertimento number 15 or Agon, and you're like, oh my God. So I don't miss that, but I do miss that rush where the curtain goes up and you feel the draft, you see the conductor, and you just go.
And you know that you're prepared.
You just let go. It's like you're in a higher world.
I suppose it's one of those situations where you do the preparation, you're comfortable with yourself, and then once the show starts, you don't have to think so much about it because you know that you're prepared.
You just said the magic word.
Well, thank you. I try.
In order to really be good, you have to be really comfortable with you. And it is the odyssey of getting to that arrival point that is so painful because you second guess and question and try to retrofit yourself into what is not you. And then finally you make peace and go, okay, I'm going to choose me anyway. And in that moment, you have the peace. You can actually relax into your body, be in the moment, and stop trying to manipulate everything and just be you. And it takes more vulnerability because you're showing a part of yourself that normally you may not. And I think it's that moment that you find your freedom. It's a bit of a thing, but it's very personal.
It's fascinating. You hear a lot about actors who play certain parts that you've seen 100 actors play in the past, and they bring their own unique interpretation to it. When you took on a role, would you bring your own, I'm not sure how it works as a dancer, but would you kind of bring your own interpretation to things and working with the director on the character?
You know, it's also, I'm amazed at the questions you're asking me because nobody asks me these types of questions. It's really amazing. Yes, I remember I was doing a segment of Suzanne Farrell's production of Don Quixote, which hadn't been done since 1976. And she said, you're going to wear my costume. And they took it out of the Met and State Theater, and they said, you better fit in it. I'm like, right, okay. And I was dancing with Alex Ritter, who was the principal from ABT / New York City Ballet at the time. And I was so intimidated because I thought he was amazing. And she said, and we kept hearing it with a piano. And it just sounded clunky. It was like so bad on a piano. And then she said, I'm going to bring the violinist up. And she said, how would you like the tempo? I'm like, what? And then she played it. And I was like, oh my gosh. It changed. It became a whole different part of Durr. And I remember we were doing a preview for the Wall Street Journal. And I wasn't even there.
You were in the zone.
Total. Like, he could have fallen on his butt. I wouldn't have noticed. And he kind of did in one moment. Didn't notice. I was just out there because she gets you there. And the music was something else. That's
what is so enticing about going to see live performance because when I watch music, sometimes I'm appreciating the music, but I love to watch the musicians, and you can just see they're in a world. I don't know what that world is. I don't think anyone does, but they're in their own world, but at the same time, they're connecting with the audience. And it's really pretty magical. I saw a clip of Bolero, and I can't remember who the director was, but he had brought a completely different interpretation to it. And I think it was a Brazilian dancer, and it was so different from anything I'd seen before that that's why I asked the question about interpretation and how you can express yourself as well as what you have to do as the character.
You know, it's funny, when they make it on you, it's yours. When you have to be that person, it's hard. So you have to let go of what they did and really make it yours. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but usually they like it.
And did you feel, you also, another thing that amazes me is the consistency, because if you're doing a performance every night, it's not like you do the show and then you think, oh, it went well, thank God, I can go home now and go out for that steak. You've got to do it again the next night.
Oh, yeah.
And really be on point and get the notes and everything.
Uh-huh. So you go home. It's sort of like, how fast can you get back to bed? And you need to eat something. And it's a lot.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Well, I want to get more into that as well as how it has helped your current success as a real estate agent. And we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Dylan Pachulik, CEO of XL Real Property Management, New York's most trusted name in luxury property management since 2012. We specialize in managing individual apartments, townhouses, and rental buildings held by absentee owners. We maintain our properties with the highest standards of quality and service so that owners can choose a hassle-free approach to real estate investing. Rented or owner-occupied, we handle it all. For more information, contact us at xl-rpm.com.
Looking to stage a property but on a tight budget and timeline? Stage with Stage and Fold. Stylish, lightweight, foldable, 3D printed cardboard furniture that looks real. Quick delivery and easy assembly. Staging starts at just $199 a month per room, and setup takes less than 30 minutes. Contact us today to stage smarter, sell faster, save thousands with Stage and Fold.
Welcome back. And it's so interesting to hear about your career because I know I've had a lot of different types of jobs in my day and a few different careers, but it's really hard to know what someone does every day. And I'm curious, I just want to ask one more question about ballet, and that is, what was every day like? You would wake up,
have a shower. Don't eat very much because if you eat too much, it's too hard to move. It's really hard to process and you need as much energy as you can. I'd have like a high protein something. And then you go into ballet class and you work through all the kinks and pain and stiffness. And then you get yourself going in point shoes because you need to make sure you're ready for the day. You're breaking in shoes for the performance that night, which hurts because your feet hurt. So you're really grumpy and you're like, don't talk to me. And then you start rehearsing and you make sure everybody's comfortable because the casts are changing. Depending on injury, depending on ballets, there are swapping casts. So now you've got to swap in with the next poor partner who's got to try and figure out what he's doing. And then you run. I mean, 3 ballets, 30 minutes a piece on average, 15-minute breaks, trying to keep warm, trying to keep stretched, trying to catch up with personal things, and then you're ready to go. I mean, you don't stop from 10 until 10 o'clock at night with maybe at best an hour break, hour and 15 altogether with it all kind of running. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you transitioned into such a relaxing career like real estate where there's a lot of time just to sit around at a desk. So how did you shift into real estate?
It's a very interesting way it played out. I had an idea in my head if I were to think of my life outside of ballet. I didn't want to be a Pilates teacher. I didn't want to be a ballet teacher. I wanted to get away from that world. I'd done it. I was done. I wanted to be a grown-up, and I wanted to be a woman of business. And I kept having this vision of me sitting in a car in a suit. I have no idea why. And then I remembered I had taken my real estate license because I had a half-brother who is a well-known designer, and my mother was in property development in Australia. And I thought, well, my friend at the time said, I think you'd be great at it. So I got it. I hung it with some commercial broker. I never thought about it. And now I was like, okay, I'm injured. It's time. Well, I have this license. I had no idea how to use a computer, literally. I had no skills outside of ballet. It was really bad because I didn't do the college thing at the same time. I didn't do it, unfortunately. And so I basically lied. I called up Corcoran and said, I'm looking to be an EA. And I said I'd be great at it because I was a dancer and I understood computers. Lie. And basically got my foot in the door and met with like 5 groups at Corcoran. And I was selected by the townhouse specialists who were lovely. And I remember getting into the office and looking at everybody who was turning on the computers, all the EAs. I didn't even know how to turn the computer on. And I was looking at her, and then they arrived and they said, "You're possibly the worst assistant we've ever had, but you'd be a great broker." And that's how it started.
It's a compliment, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, your friend was right who said that you would be good at it, because you didn't just transfer into real estate, but you've become a star. You are a star in real estate.
Legend in my own lunchtime. I don't know. I think dancers have this tendency to want to please and be perfect. And it's an illusion. And so we just keep wanting to please. I think I came into it wanting to be loved. I know that's a bit weird. It wasn't about the money. It was about being liked, because I was so insecure. So I spent most of my time being perfect, trying to fix things and get it right. And I think that tenacity, made people feel like, wow, she's really going to work for me. And I did. I had no idea how it was going to go.
That's a great thing it's a very difficult thing to say, talk about insecurity, because I can relate to it. But I think people that are insecure who never stop trying to work to make themselves feel more solid, you're giving so much to other people. And it just takes a while to
realize.
to balance
Yes.
and to understand that. Well,
Yes.
There's a sensitivity that a lot of people don't possess. And I think real estate agents really have to be sensitive and read signals from their clients, other brokers. And so I'm sure that's something that you had already from your career. But so when you became an agent, you didn't just suddenly catapult into where you are now. So what was the trajectory like?
I grew my business every year 35%. Don't ask me how. I don't really know. I went after everything. I worked until 10 o'clock at night. I used to hear people say behind my back, "She keep working like that, she's never going to have a family." I just had I walked in and there was a woman with press-on nails and a pot plant. I'd come from a 1 percentile job, and suddenly I was sitting with people who had different worlds. I loved it. It was so easy compared to the world I came from. I could have lunch. I could hang out. I could go to an event, an opening. It was a total social scene for me. And I loved the idea of being able to make something out of nothing, because I had nothing. So I took my first break was 6 months in. I was so in debt. I rolled everything onto a 0% interest, because at that time you could, 2006. And I remember there was this guy who lost the listing, and I heard my manager and I said, "I want it. Can I do it?" He goes, "I'll put you in touch." So I called the guy up and he said, "Listen, it's a non-combined 3-bedroom in Midtown in Hell's Kitchen, and I'm not staging it." I'm like, "Great, I'll take it." And he wanted a bonkers number, like $2 million, right? So I thought, no problem. So I took all the furniture out of my apartment and I staged it. And I sold it at $2 million.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. And I made in that check what I made in 1 year as a ballet dancer.
Incredible.
And I was like, oh my gosh, what? Say what? That to me was bonkers.
So I would imagine the resourcefulness and the drive and work ethic really paid off.
Always.
But you also had to learn a lot of new skills. Like I'm sure you're better at turning a computer on now than you had been.
Got that now.
But it's remarkable. And people who reinvent themselves always impress me because it's very easy just to start a career and stay there forever. And the slow, steady process seems to be what really works, because a lot of people come into the business, maybe they have one huge sale and they think, okay, I've made it now. But to just steadily grow your business every year really takes a lot of resolve.
I have to say, I remember I learned, I went to the Corcoran training program. There was City Habitat to the side and there was Corcoran. And I remember a broker who in my office said, I don't do anything but luxury. And I'm thinking, well, I'll do anything. I don't have an ego and I still don't. And I think that's the actual way you actually make good connections is you take everything. You do everything.
Somebody said to me once, don't say no. And I had so many situations where I would be showing someone looking for a $1,500 rental around some neighborhood in Brooklyn, Sunnyside, Queens.
Wow.
And a lot of times it never paid off at the time, but I've had people 5 years later call me.
That's right.
And say, are you still doing real estate, et cetera, because they remember the time and the commitment. And it's
your
really
kindness, I'm sure, and your integrity.
It's really all about helping people and being useful.
Correct.
And that's what I love about this business, is that there are a lot of frustrations, a lot of difficult things, but at the end of the day, when you see someone move into a new apartment, that's a little bit of a rush too. Maybe it's not stepping on stage as for a show, but it's a tremendous feeling of satisfaction.
I'm very grateful for what I have. I never take it for granted, ever. And the people who have shaped it. I mean, to your point, I must have shown this guy a $2,800 rental in 2009, referred me one of the biggest clients I have today. Wow. Just put it out there.
Yeah.
And I will never forget that. So it's those types of things, yeah?
Yeah, and you do things for the right reasons.
Yes.
You're kind to someone, you're trying to help someone without an agenda. You can never go into it and think, I'm going to take this guy out for a slice of pizza in between looking at apartments because maybe one day he'll throw me a bone and I'll get some, big listing. But it doesn't work that way. It's really just putting yourself out there, and doesn't always happen. It might not, but you're setting yourself up for success.
100% agree with that. I pay it forward. I believe in, this sounds so, contribution, paying it forward.
That's wonderful.
Do right by people.
That's wonderful.
Simple. It's the only way I can do it, because if I don't, I probably want to jump off a cliff because it's so much at times. But if you do it from that contribution place, it actually changes the energy from getting to giving, and then it feels much more fluid.
And I would imagine in real estate, there are a lot of disappointments, and people do say no a lot when you're making an offer or working with a client. But the level of competition and the amount of rejection that you have to risk in your previous career, did that set you up pretty well?
Oh, yeah. No means, okay, just not right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, no problem. How many more times can I reorganize this? I never give up, ever.
I've had so many jobs as someone who really was afraid of rejection. I've had so many different jobs where people say no all the time. And so my friend said, when you write a memoir, not that I really expect to write a memoir, but you should title it, Just Say No, ... to me. Because I've learned more from facing rejection and just what's the worst thing that can happen.
Boom.
Somebody says no and they say no again in a week. Maybe they say yes in 2 weeks. Maybe they don't.
I remember there was a whole thing about watching these agents coming in and doing like $47 million deals. And I would say, wow, I crank and I crank and I crank, and I've not ever had that. And then the minute I let go of that is the minute it changed. And, the rejection part is bumping up against the same limitation. Do you actually believe you can have it? What does that look like? Anyway, it's all another.
Wow. I could talk all day, but we are running a little short of time. So I like to just kind of finish up with a couple of quick questions, to unprepared, off the cuff.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite restaurant? And if so, what is it?
Yes, there are two. I like, Il Molino on Bleecker Street for their truffle ravioli.
Oh,
it's unlike anything
good.
I've ever had. And the farm to table at Bluestone, Blue Hill Stone Barns upstate.
We'll put it in the comments so people know. What is your ideal weekend? We all work weekends, but let's say you're not working. What would your ideal weekend be?
Sleeping in, being with my kids and my partner out east, walking on the beach,
Sounds pretty good.
and then going to a farm. Yeah.
Where in New York City is the best place to detox?
Detox in my bed. Just lie in my bed, turn the shutters down. I'm good.
That's
I don't need
great.
much.
That's great. And where can people find you?
You mean online?
Online, in person, or
Oh.
on the phone?
Just email me or call me. Call me.
Instagram handle?
Oh,
anything
yeah,
like
sure. Yeah, Instagram too. Sorry, I'm really not doing a good job, am I?
Yeah, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been really interesting, and I've really
It's been a
enjoyed
pleasure.
meeting you.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
This was awesome.
You're welcome. Thanks to my guest, and thank you all for tuning in. The show is Becoming Brokerage, and we will see you next time.
What do you really need to know about buying or selling a home? First, it's serious business. And it's complicated. There's a lot of money on the table, and emotion too. You need an agent who knows the ropes. So, whether you're buying or selling your home, work with professionals who have a mastery of the craft.